Today we are exploring the lives and legacies of the last 5 popes who have shepherded the Catholic Church through the tumultuous and transformative events of the 20th and 21st centuries. From the visionary leadership of Pope Paul VI to the global impact of Pope Francis, each pontiff has left an indelible mark on the Church and the world at large. Join us as we delve into the stories of these remarkable spiritual leaders, their challenges, triumphs, and enduring contributions to faith, morality, and righteous living. This journey will offer insight into the rich tapestry of papal history and illuminate the ongoing evolution of the Catholic Church in our modern era. Pope Paul VI, born Giovanni Battista Montini on September 26, 1897, in Concesio, Italy, was ordained a priest in 1920. He served in various diplomatic roles within the Vatican, including as Archbishop of Milan, before being elected as Pope on June 21, 1963, following the death of Pope John XXIII. During his papacy, Paul VI faced significant challenges, including the rise of secularism, the sexual revolution, and the Vietnam War. He continued the work of the Second Vatican Council, implementing its reforms while also grappling with internal dissent and criticism from more conservative factions within the Church. One of the most controversial decisions of his pontificate was the release of the encyclical Humanae Vitae in 1968, which reaffirmed the Church's stance against artificial contraception. Despite facing widespread dissent from within the Church and criticism from outside, Paul VI upheld the traditional teaching on human sexuality. In addition to his work within the Church, Paul VI also played a role in global diplomacy, advocating for peace and social justice. He made historic visits to the United Nations and became the first pope to travel to the Holy Land in modern times. Pope Paul VI died on August 6, 1978, in Castel Gandolfo, Italy, and was succeeded by Pope John Paul I. In 2018, Pope Francis canonized him as a saint, recognizing his holiness and contributions to the Church. Pope John Paul I, born Albino Luciani, was elected as the 263rd Pope of the Catholic Church on August 26, 1978, following the death of Pope Paul VI. His papacy was exceptionally brief, lasting only 33 days, making him one of the shortest reigning popes in history. Despite his short tenure, Pope John Paul I endeared himself to many with his warmth, humility, and pastoral approach. Before his election to the papacy, Albino Luciani served as the Patriarch of Venice. He was known for his simple lifestyle and compassion for the poor. Upon becoming pope, he chose the name John Paul in honor of his immediate predecessors, Pope John XXIII and Pope Paul VI, symbolizing his desire to continue their work and bridge their legacies. During his brief pontificate, Pope John Paul I emphasized the importance of love, mercy, and simplicity. He sought to reform aspects of the Vatican bureaucracy and advocated for a renewed focus on the gospel message of compassion and humility. Tragically, Pope John Paul I's pontificate was cut short by his sudden death on September 28, 1978, sparking widespread speculation and conspiracy theories. His death, officially attributed to a heart attack, occurred before he could implement many of his planned reforms or leave a lasting mark on the Church. Despite the brevity of his papacy, Pope John Paul I remains a figure of fascination and admiration for many Catholics and non-Catholics alike, remembered for his kindness, humility, and dedication to the gospel values of love and service. Pope John Paul II, born Karol Józef Wojtyła, was the 264th Pope of the Catholic Church, serving from October 16, 1978, until his death on April 2, 2005. He was one of the most influential figures of the 20th century, known for his extensive travels, charismatic personality, and unwavering commitment to promoting peace and human rights. Born in Wadowice, Poland on May 18, 1920, Karol Wojtyła experienced the horrors of World War II and the oppressive regime of communist rule in his homeland. He was ordained a priest in 1946, later becoming a bishop, archbishop, and eventually a cardinal. Upon his election as pope, John Paul II became the first non-Italian pope in over 450 years and the youngest pope in over a century. His papacy was marked by numerous historic events, including his visits to over 100 countries, where he reached out to people of all faiths and backgrounds with his message of hope, reconciliation, and solidarity. John Paul II was also a prolific writer and philosopher, publishing numerous encyclicals, apostolic exhortations, and books on topics ranging from theology to ethics to social issues. He played a pivotal role in the collapse of communism in Eastern Europe, particularly in his native Poland, where his support for the Solidarity movement helped to inspire resistance to authoritarian rule. Throughout his pontificate, Pope John Paul II remained a staunch defender of traditional Catholic teachings, particularly on issues such as abortion, contraception, and marriage. He also sought to address contemporary challenges facing the Church, including the need for ecumenical dialogue and the role of women in the Church. Despite facing health challenges in his later years, including Parkinson's disease, Pope John Paul II continued to serve as a beloved and revered spiritual leader until his passing in 2005. He was canonized as a saint by Pope Francis in 2014, recognizing his profound impact on the Catholic Church and the world at large. Pope Benedict XVI, born Joseph Aloysius Ratzinger, served as the 265th Pope of the Catholic Church from April 19, 2005, until his resignation on February 28, 2013. He was the first pope to resign from the papacy in almost 600 years. Before his papacy, Joseph Ratzinger was a renowned theologian and served as prefect of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith under Pope John Paul II. He was known for his conservative theological views and intellectual rigor. During his papacy, Pope Benedict XVI faced various challenges, including addressing the sexual abuse scandals within the Church, fostering interfaith dialogue, and navigating tensions within the Church over issues such as liturgy and doctrine. He also focused on promoting a deeper understanding of Catholic teaching and tradition. Pope Benedict XVI's resignation, citing health reasons and the challenges of leading the Church in the modern world, was a historic event that surprised many. After his resignation, he took on the title of Pope Emeritus and retired to a life of prayer and contemplation. Throughout his life and papacy, Pope Benedict XVI left a lasting legacy as a theologian, scholar, and spiritual leader, known for his intellectual depth, commitment to orthodoxy, and dedication to the Church's mission in the modern world. Pope Francis, born Jorge Mario Bergoglio, is the current and 266th Pope of the Catholic Church, having been elected on March 13, 2013. He is the first Pope from the Americas, specifically from Argentina, and the first Jesuit Pope. Pope Francis is known for his humility and simplicity. He also focuses strongly on issues affecting the poor and marginalized. He has emphasized mercy, compassion, and inclusivity in his papacy, earning him widespread acclaim and the nickname, the People's Pope. Throughout his pontificate, Pope Francis has addressed various global challenges, including economic inequality, environmental degradation, and the plight of refugees and migrants. He has also sought to reform the Vatican bureaucracy, promote transparency and accountability within the Church, and foster dialogue and reconciliation among people of different faiths and cultures. Pope Francis has made headlines for his progressive views on certain social issues, such as climate change, immigration, and the role of women in the Church, while also upholding traditional Catholic teachings on issues like abortion and marriage. His papacy has been marked by numerous historic events and gestures, including his visits to conflict zones and areas affected by natural disasters, his efforts to combat human trafficking and modern slavery, and his groundbreaking encyclical Laudato Si', which calls for global action to address environmental degradation and climate change. Pope Francis continues to be a prominent voice for peace, justice, and reconciliation in the world, inspiring millions of people with his message of love, mercy, and solidarity. As we conclude our exploration of the last 5 popes, we are left with a profound appreciation for the diverse contributions each pontiff has made to the Catholic Church and the world at large. From the visionary leadership of Pope Paul VI to the transformative papacy of Pope Francis, we have witnessed a remarkable tapestry of faith, compassion, and resilience. Pope Paul VI's commitment to dialogue and service laid the foundation for subsequent pontificates, while Pope John Paul I's brief but impactful tenure reminded us of the power of humility and simplicity in leadership. Pope John Paul II's global impact and tireless advocacy for peace and human rights inspired millions, while Pope Benedict XVI's intellectual depth and fidelity to tradition challenged us to engage deeply with the teachings of the Church. Finally, Pope Francis has captured the world's attention with his radical embrace of mercy, inclusion, and solidarity, reinvigorating the Church's mission of love and service in the modern era. As we reflect on the legacies of these 5 popes, we are reminded of the enduring relevance of the papacy and the ongoing evolution of the Catholic Church. Their stories serve as a testament to the power of faith, hope, and love to transform hearts and societies, and their example continues to inspire us to strive for a world of justice, compassion, and peace.